Good morning, everyone in Hawaii, and good evening, everyone in Europe. Nice to see you. This morning, I'm going to begin by reading Shokshu number 2, The Value of Our Existence. We are born of the key of the universe. Let us appreciate that we are born not as plants and animals, but as human beings blessed with a universal mind. Let us pledge to accomplish our mission, which is to join the circle of development of the universe. What does Toy Sensei mean when he says universal mind? What is that? We have the Japanese word shoga and taiga. Shoga means the individual or separate self, right? And taiga means the universal self. Shoga is like you and you and you and you and me. Shoga is our specialness. Shoga is our unique individualness. So we have different, languages, different cultures. We come in all different shapes and sizes and colors. We are unique, each of us. And there's an infinite amount of that uniqueness. And, but Shoga is like a shadow. Taiga is like the light. So Shoga exists by virtue of Taiga. Taiga is the universal self. And what's unique about Taiga is that there's only one universal self. There are not many universal selves. You and you and you and me, we don't all have a separate universal self. There's only one universal self. That's why it's called universal. So like if you can take, Toy Sensei always talked about, you can take water from the ocean and put it in a cup. So that's shoga. But it never loses its essential quality, its wetness, just because you separated it temporarily and put it in a cup. It still never forgets its essential nature. It can't lose that, right? Because that's what it is. So that's a really good picture of Taiga and Shoga. So Shoga is like a little piece of Taiga. It's a very important piece because we have to live our life through that Shoga uniqueness, whatever it is. We have to find a way to live our life and survive through that uniqueness. But it's like in Aikido, I can give you, when you come in the dojo, I will teach you how to hold the bokken. And I can teach you how to cut the bokken. But that cutting is meaningless, no matter how perfect you cut, unless that cut is an expression of your universal self. So same with everything we do. Even when I just hit the bell or the sokoboku, when you breathe out and when you breathe in, every action that is taken, every thought, every feeling reveals its own essential nature, which is that wetness from the ocean. So animals have that. It's not like they don't have that. They are that perfectly. They just don't know they are. But we have this unique quality of being able to be aware of that. So that's why our practice is awareness, noticing. So we can celebrate. While living in Shoga, we can celebrate Taiga. Okay, let's begin with some key breathing. I think probably it's obvious that when we connect with, we work on connection, right? In every class. And when we're in the dojo, whether we're in Hawaii or in Europe or in Japan, we're always working on connection. The connection is not just between these different people. The connection is when the universal self meets itself. You know, there used to be this teacher, wonderful teacher in Japan named Iwao Tamura Sensei. And I was not his direct student, but I would go train with him whenever I had a chance. And he was a very good friend to me. And his favorite phrase was that universal mind always recognizes itself. And if you think about that has enormous implications in terms of relationship. You know, so I'm not going to go on and on about that, but I want you to consider. I know you've heard this, you've probably heard me say it before, but universal mind always recognizes itself. What does that mean about why we are attracted to someone or why we're not attracted to someone? Okay, so do you have any comments or questions about this question of Taiga and Shoga and the connection that we practice all the time?
Sensei, it's Prakash.
Hello.
So when you say that, universal mind recognizes itself, it's like, what comes to mind is that the person would have to recognize that in themselves to recognize them in someone else. And that is such a good feeling and so rare. And, I wonder how come it's so blocked for the majority of people?
How come it's so blocked?
Well, they don't recognize universal mind in themselves.
Well,
So they don't train, or they don't have that affinity with people who want to grow into being that universal mind.
Yeah. It's just amazing, isn't it? Well, it's so easy for us to look out there and wonder about this question. But actually, the answer is right here within our own self. We are that one. It's not that they are. I am that one that ignores. And when I do it, how much more question is there then in the universe? Because I know it, and I still ignore it. Of course, perhaps those that have not had any experience there's no reason. It's like the Tibetans say, well, better not to start, but if you start, better to finish. And that relates to this in this way that, it's better, you better not hear about it. You better not meet anybody who says, oh, by the way, this funny feeling you have all the time, that's this. And or if you do, then you had better get busy and start taking responsibility for yourself. So I don't ever worry about those people. Well, worry about, I don't judge. I don't want to judge those people that, because I do it myself often. I catch myself all the time forgetting the I was going to say the reason, the this fact that the universal self recognizes itself, and then you said something about you knowing that you're recognizing, that you being aware of that. And that is a relative thing. The thing itself may be absolute, but the awareness of it is certainly relative and grows and develops throughout our lifetime, depending on so many factors, some of which we're responsible for and some of which we're not. So even when I say, yeah, I make this mistake myself. So I'm also, doesn't serve anyone for me to blame myself for that. It's this whole game of judging and blaming is just crazy. We are free to awaken ourselves, to awaken by ourselves, with ourselves. Well, okay. I'm getting.
Thank you, Sensei.
Thank you very much.
Sensei, good morning.
Good morning, Jan.
This is Kayomi Sensei.
Oh, sorry, Kayomi. You have a very similar voice to Jan's. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Sensei, when you talk about Taiga and Shoga,
Yes.
I thought of this religious war. Like, if we are one, and the religious war really doesn't make sense. And I was wondering where Jesus and Buddha, are they Shoga or Taiga? Where are they? I understand we are often like, most of the time we are Shoga and try to be aware of our true self, which is Taiga. And I'm wondering where those enlightened people are. Are they being Taiga or are they being Shoga? Or they can just go back and forth between those.
Oh, no. You and I are Buddha and Jesus. So please excuse me, but we are this. We are always Shoga as long as we're alive in the body, and we are always Taiga as long as we are alive in the body. That's what we know. We're always this. Buddha, always both. Jesus, always both. Muhammad, always both. Martin Luther King, always both. Kayomi, always both. Same. But the difference is, you talk about like wars, or wars is basically just the judgment of another person being superior or inferior. And as a result, we have conflict, right? That we say that only exists in the Shoga world, or in the world of conflict, the relative world. It's true. But it doesn't mean that the person, this is why I don't, many people don't like to kill other people because no matter how nasty or misused the mind is of this other person, they're still always Taiga. Even Adolf Hitler was always Taiga. Okay. He was truly not aware of it when he was acting out, right? Just like I'm not aware of it when I'm acting out. We forget when we think the shadow is the light. We think, I am it. I'm the one. Well, it's true, I am the one. But the shadow doesn't get to claim that. Yeah, this is a mystery, for sure. And my explanation of it is only pointing to it. It's something that we have to experience. Like the Friday night, Lynn was asking from her group was asking, well, how do you know when you have way-seeking mind and when you just have selfish mind? Well, I mean, that's a very good question. Then why don't we just have way-seeking mind all the time? Well, we do. It's always here, but we're not always using it because we're ignorant. We don't recognize. But as we grow and develop and mature, then we recognize way-seeking mind or following the universe or Taiga within ourselves and therefore within others more and more and more. Excuse me. The paradox is that it's always here. That's what this is. We're fish swimming in this wetness, looking for the wetness, going, where is the wetness? Where is the water? So that's sort of the irony of it all. So I think we practice more. Thank you, Kayomi. Someone else?
Sensei.
Yes, hello.
Hello. I have a question that is possibly essentially technical, but people on the drugs, do you think they, once they are on the drug, they somehow possibly lose their capacity to express this taiga? Well, to connect with the world around them and to connect with people around them via this universal self. I'm asking this question in reference to an experience I had. Don't want to make it too long, but it was very late in the night. I was in the street. I was injured with my leg. I felt like I couldn't run, but some guys in the street started harassing me. And I had this impression that whatever I would say to them was like Teflon. There was no way I could connect with the tone of my voice, with the way I was looking at them, with the words I was using. I don't know where they were, but there was no possibility. And the only way I found was to run away. And they were so drunk, so high that they felt on the floor and they escaped like that. But I really had the impression that intuitively I could not connect. So that's my question to you now. I don't know if this is related to what you are explaining.
Well, yeah, I mean, the drug.
There's an alteration somewhere in,
Yes,
the
of course, of course. And that alteration depends on what kind of drug you take. Some of them emphasize, each one emphasizes different parts of our self, parts of our, chemical anatomy. And also accident can happen and do the same thing like this. This is a very famous physicist, American woman who had a stroke and it cut off only the left side of her brain. And she was suddenly feeling enlightened and free. And even though she couldn't remember the number, she couldn't remember to call 911. She said she couldn't figure out how to use the telephone, but she could see the universe was one. So she lost Shoga and only had a little Taiga, had Taiga only for a little while. But that experience changed her whole approach to living and to her work. And she's done a lot. I can't remember her name, but she's done a lot of, programs on it and written books and so forth. Anyway, yeah, so like LSD is a certain, activates a certain kind of attention in us, whereas alcohol does just the opposite, right? So, different drugs do different things. I think more important is your experience with not being able to connect with these guys. They were just out of it. And maybe it doesn't matter what drug they were taking, whether it was alcohol or a combination of marijuana and alcohol or whatever, just, too much of anything puts us out of commission, and we can no longer recognize our own humanity, let alone someone else's. Humanity being who we are, actually, which is what Toi Sensei calls Taiga. So the connection you have in the dojo can't happen sometimes either, just because of arrogance or nervousness or fear or hesitancy. There's some kind of activity that's not free to move in our own mind body because of our subconscious conditioning. So it's not just drug addicts and drunks. It's everybody. It's us. Like I said to Prakash, it's us. It's not them. It's this is where we look.
Thank you, Sensei.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you, everyone. Oh, yeah, it's past time. So next Sunday is Mother's Day. This class will not take place next Sunday to give us freedom to honor the mothers in our life. Okay? And but Friday class will happen. I think I can't be here Friday because I'm having an operation again tomorrow. So having a procedure. So maybe I can't talk on Friday, but I'll be back soon. Maybe week after next, I think. Okay. So thank you very much. Domo arigatou gozaimasu.